This is DRF Race of the Day. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Wednesday, February the 10th, race number 9 at Gulfstream Park. Let's throw up the field for this Florida-bred optional claiming race. Now owners of one other than is your condition, $12,000, the optional claiming price. You can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. Mike, it's a really competitive race. You've got several horses dropping in class, maybe questionable drops, a couple of horses with some back class as well.
Yeah, agreed. There's plenty of back class in here. It just seems like those horses, the ones with the so-called best races, let's say, they're on somewhat suspicious drops here. A couple of them dropping off the claim even. So it sort of makes the race even more interesting from that respect.
The number 2, Sol Dali, stakes placed in his career, is in good form and has speed. So there are a lot of things to like with Sol Dali as we throw up the Time Form US pace projector. He is expected to make the lead. Now, this horse has hit the board in his last 5 races with 3 wins. He could get loose, and he was up close to a fast pace last time out and still beat 3 of these common foes.
Yeah, his overall form is fine. He certainly looks like a contender in this race. When I looked at the race anyway, Dan, I didn't see him getting loose on the lead in here, but maybe he will. Maybe the form of some of these other horses just makes them really susceptible in here. I thought the 6, Ray's Warrior, he didn't show speed on turf last time. He's a pretty fast horse. I'm going to expect him to show speed in here.
I would agree. Ray's Warrior on his best day has shown speed. His last 2 races, maybe not as much, but we'll get to perhaps the reasons why in a bit. Game Boy Benny is a horse that finished behind Sol Dali last time out. He's the number 1. We're going to take a look at Sol Dali's race with Game Boy Benny finishing 3rd. Let's watch Sol Dali's recent victory. And Sol Dali, again, up close to a solid pace, takes the lead turning into the stretch. Game Boy Benny is the 2, right in behind Sol Dali. Down on the rail, on the outside is Vinny Van Gogh, who's also in this race. Sol Dali on his left lead just keeps finding a little bit more.
He does. He got right up on top of the leader in here, took over, and he's just going to hang on at the end. This is a very slow race, Dan. I realize that Sol Dali's, overall form lately is pretty good, and he can run faster races than that. That was a very slow race, though. So we'll see. Game Boy Benny didn't really do a lot for me. He's been very consistent generally. I thought even his best race might leave him a little light in here.
Yeah, I agree. He's the kind of horse also that occasionally prefers to finish 2nd or 3rd, 11 times 2nd or 3rd in his career. Apache is the number 3, and there might be some things to like about Apache. He's coming into this race with some competitive buyer speed figures, a 78 in his first start off the claim, and in that race, he ran into a 2-to-5 shot that came back to win his very next start, his 3rd in a row with a 94 buyer speed figure. That was a race in which Apache just sort of saved ground at the back of the pack and clunked up past some tired horses. But from a speed figure standpoint, and I guess from a class standpoint, he fits very well.
Yeah, he just ran into a super hot horse last time, and he just had no chance in there. That was first off the claim. We'll see if this new trainer can keep him going. He had won 3 of his prior 4 starts there, and none of them, super fast races, but he earned an 81 buyer break in his maiden.
Luis Saez, I thought, gave the number 4 Resident a beautiful ride last time out. Resident's not exactly a blazer, and Luis was able to get this horse right to the lead. And let's see what happens when Resident turns into the stretch. He's already shaken clear on the turn, and he's going to keep on going. A 70 buyer speed figure, a little bit light, but all in all, a career best effort in his 36th lifetime start. It was a great ride by Saez. This is a horse that does not need the lead, and he took advantage of kind of a paceless race.
Definitely took advantage in here. He was also cutting in half in claiming price. That certainly helped his cause. Saez did the right thing, put him on the lead. So we'll see if they try to get aggressive with him again, Dan. I suppose that could help his chances in some way in here. Although, again, I thought that this pace could get competitive in here. 70 buyer top and career start number 36, and it still makes him too slow.
The 5 is Royal Squeeze, and he's one of those back classers that we talked about. He's a 9-year-old with 12 lifetime wins, a multiple stakes winner. He's earned over $600,000. He has not run well recently. You have to wonder if he's starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. He's finished last in his last 2 starts, but he's now taking a big double drop in class.
I mean, this is just a gigantic class drop. And listen, it could obviously, a drop like this could be a real negative, especially based off of his final 2 starts. I mean, he was bad when they dropped him in for 40 in October. They gave him time after that race. And when they came back for 25, he didn't run any better at all, Dan. So you just have to wonder if he can run at all anymore. Obviously, the class drop helps. I'm sure they wouldn't care if somebody took him. Jose Ortiz takes them out there. Things to like, but you got to be very careful with horses like this.
Ray's Warrior is a horse creeping up to $500,000 in lifetime earnings. His last race, as you mentioned in the Open, on turf. That is not his preferred surface. He couldn't get close to the lead. And his prior race was the Claiming Crown Express, where he caught a hot horse, Christo Sky, who was a big favorite. He just didn't show any speed in that race. But back at this levels at Laurel 3 starts back, he did show good tactical speed. He tired that day, but he ran into a decent horse in No Mo Ron. I agree with you that he can stay close to the pace, and on his best, he should be right there.
He should. If he can show up and somehow run his best race here off the claim and show a little more speed, I feel like this is a horse who, even though his last 2 races aren't great, you know, there are ways to sort of mitigate that. The turf race, the Claiming Crown Express, which was probably just too tough for him. He's back in the right kind of a spot here for a trainer who does, you know, overall does a really good job. Colin Murray doesn't claim a lot of horses, Dan, but he's, you know, 3 for 10 over the last 5 years claiming horses. So he could get this horse to turn around here.
Arrivederla, the number 7, was beaten by Soldelli in the race that we saw earlier, and I just didn't see an excuse. This is a horse who was a winner 3 starts back at Gulfstream West. It looked like he was getting into hot form, but off the claim, he just hasn't shown much speed.
Yeah, his 2 races so far off the claim have not been good. He didn't run well at all last time, and he didn't even run well 2 starts back, Dan. That's another race that several of these horses are coming out of. The other 5 horses in that field all went up there and contested the pace together. This horse sat in a perfect spot behind all of them and never made it close.
Front-loaded, another horse closing in on $500,000 in earnings, was claimed out of his last race by Kelly Breen. Now, normally, this is a very good move for Kelly as we take a look at the formulator fact. Over the past 5 years with horses aged 4-year-olds and up, first off the claim in dirt sprints, Breen wins at 28% with a positive ROI. Now, he claimed this horse for $25,000 last time out. He was in against much better horses. You had Life in Shambles, a horse that's almost a millionaire, come out of that race, and he won a $35,000 claimer in his next start with an 87 buyer. So front-loaded's dropping. He should fit getting in with Florida breds, but you know, having and price off the claim is somewhat questionable.
Yeah, it's very dicey. Cutting in half off the claim does sort of make you wonder a little bit. To me, this is the horse to beat in the race, though. He's got all the fast races, and his fast races are actually pretty recent. It's, you know, the last one maybe isn't great, but as you've already said, that was a much tougher field than this one. And just, you know, going back to the races he was running at the end of last year, one of those makes him very tough in here.
Now, we have horses in here that have won 11 times, 8 times, 9 times. Pro Quality, the number 9, is eligible for a non-winners of 2 lifetime. Pro Quality second, though, in this race in his most recent start. And consider this was only his 5th lifetime effort. So he has more upside, perhaps, than anyone in this field. Pro Quality, I thought, pushed a very fast pace in between horses on the backstretch. The other horses that were on the pace with him are nowhere. He has the lead in the stretch, and he's going to get run down by a long shot that I think had the best of it from a race flow situation.
Correct. And this is going a mile, Dan. It just feels like this is the kind of distance that this horse may not have wanted at that point. And then when you add the trip in there, it also worked against him. They cut him back for this. 2 starts back on his PPs. Now we'll see if that 90 buyer speed figure you're going to break in is made. We'll see how representative that is. I don't know if I want to sit here and say he's a 90 kind of horse, but he could certainly do a lot better than he's done in his last 2 starts. And I thought he ran fine last time.
And we saw Vinny Van Gogh finish second to Soldali last time out. It was a solid effort. He was claimed out of that race. He's been very popular at the claim box, claimed 5 times over the last 7 or 8 months or so. Tough outside post. Interesting stat I came up with. Posts 9 and out, going 6 furlongs at Gulfstream over the last year, 7 for 169. Take it for what it's worth.
Wow, really? All right, so we'll see if this horse can overcome that. I don't love the last race he's coming out of. He does have some faster races to get to, though, so maybe off the claim he can do a little bit better. You know, you only have to go back to, you know, sort of the end of last year, though. We got buried by front-loaded, too. Post-position
stats notwithstanding, we take a look at our top picks, and we both landed on the horse with upside. Pro Quality does not have the company lines of some of these other horses, but I do believe he has the upside. And the fig, even from his last race, that's 79, puts him in a very competitive spot. not even discussing the 90 that you mentioned from 3 starts back. It'll be interesting to see what kind of trip he gets cutting back in distance.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know. I just feel like he was the interesting horse in here if he's any kind of a price. I know he's facing some real hard hitters in here, but I liked his last race. I thought he ran well in there. And I just have enough questions about the others to take a shot with someone else.
And that's where we're going with pro quality. 9-6-3-10 for me, 9-8-6-5 for Mike. It's your Wednesday DRF race of the day, the 9th at Gulfstream Park with an approximate post time of 5:16 Eastern. Good luck.